Barcelona returned to La Liga action last night with a crushing 4-0 victory over Mallorca away from home at the Son Moix Stadium, with goals from Arturo Vidal, Martin Braithwaite, Jordi Alba and of course Leo Messi. What perhaps on paper looks a comfortable and routine win, I think certainly did have some other sides to it that we do want to discuss in this video, and although that's really all we could ask for from the first game back, if we're being honest, we don't want to get greedy here, we don't want to, take any of this for granted. That is a really solid and brilliant away victory there from the first game back. But I do have a few things to talk about. We're going to be looking at all the positives, all the negatives, giving the realistic review on what was a really, good win last night for Barcelona. It is, that's important to say that from the start. But there are things I want to discuss. So without any further ado, let's get into the match review. Good place to start, as always, is with those lineups. We had to make those predictions in the preview. Go and check it out if you haven't already, although maybe a bit odd watching it after the game's already been played. But Mallorca made a few changes from what we would have expected. They made a few changes in defence that we weren't really predicting in there. And also Pedraza started ahead of Baba in midfield. Whether that was the right decision or not, I don't really know. I think Baba maybe gives them a little bit more in there. But for Barcelona, we got it pretty much spot on. They went with Araujo over Umtiti at centre-back, which ended up being a really smart move, and a move I was really happy to see. I trust Araujo at centre-back, and he proved his worth once more with a really solid performance there on his full Barca debut. And in the end, Luis Suarez was actually deemed too unfit to start, so the main man, Martin Braithwaite, did indeed get the start instead. And of course, he got himself on the score sheet, getting his first Barcelona goal. Let's go on the match action now, then we'll unpick a few other debates later. Let's start with, well, almost the first minute of the game, really. Jordi Alba gets the ball on the left-hand side. It was after De Jong had won the ball back. It's a lovely cross from the left back though, who all in all I thought had a really good game, and it's a great header from Vidal. Great ball into the box from Alba, brilliant header from Vidal, and if I'm being honest, I was so happy with that. It's exactly what we wanted, guys, and I think I mentioned in the preview how important Vidal could be in a game like this. I really wanted him to start ahead of both Rakitic and Arthur, and Setien got that one right, to be fair. Vidal, that's what he can offer in a defence that will sit deep, where it's going to be a game where, you're going to be finding it difficult to break lines. Vidal is the man who can do that these days. A brilliant burst into the box, brilliant header, and 1-0 Barca. All in all, I thought we started really brightly. Our shape was really good. The intensity was really bright in the first 10 minutes. Braithwaite himself could have actually had a goal. The ball fell to him on the half volley, smashed it just wide of the post, and that was a really good start. I was really impressed with us. We looked really fit. But for me, we slowed down. I don't know if a few other people who've been reviewing the game maybe forgot about this, and all the papers have been super positive, and that's great because it is the first game back after 3 months. We don't exactly expect fireworks, guys. I'm not expecting a perfect performance, but we've slowed down. I think this has been the case in a lot of the games prior to the break 2 on the set-in, so it is worth noting, I think. Of course, you could expect the rhythm to be a little bit slow. Of course, in these sorts of games, the rhythm, it isn't going to be that quick. But I thought whenever we had the ball, we were passing it sideways. Mallorca were pressuring us, and everyone was kind of praising us for how well we dealt with it last night. But I think I want to set it out straight and really talk about the fact there were some negatives in there last night. For me, we began to back off Mallorca way too much. Like I said, whenever we had the ball, we were passing it sideways. There were no real runs or options for us in the attacking half. I thought for about a good half an hour in that first half, if I'm being honest. And again, guys, for what was a really bright start with lots of width and lots of bursting runs on either side, especially from Sergio Roberto for me, that stopped really when it got to about the 15th minute in the first half. And until really the 40th, really, if you're being honest with yourselves, I think there was just nothing really going forward from Barcelona. If you look at our next chance, really, after the first 10 minutes, it was really the goal. So that says it all. I think in between then, Mallorca had a good couple of chances. Kuba was breaking very well. He was causing our defence massive issues. We were all a bit lethargic. And in the end, Ter Stegen made a couple of good saves in there to keep Barcelona in the game. And for me, Kuba was so impressive, a really great talent. But it was Barcelona who ended up getting the second goal, and it was Martin Braithwaite. This is a big positive for me. Braithwaite is such a good runner, man. He's such a determined footballer, and he's probably, the least talented player on the pitch for Barcelona, and yet he's in the top 3 performers. And why? It's because he obviously just gives us all every game, and it's almost that simple sometimes in football. I feel, especially when you play the lower sides, when we have this much quality on our side, if they just really go for it, it makes everything so much easier. And Braithwaite, some good play down the left-hand side from Barca. Messi got a little flicked header on it, and Braithwaite, half volley, smashes it into the roof of the net. Great finish. No celebration for him, which I found quite odd. At first, I thought it was Vidal who scored, honestly. The camera angle was a bit strange for me. I couldn't really see a lot on the football pitch, but it was a little more clear in the second half, I felt, when we were attacking the other goal. But I just want to point out the VAR decision on the Braithwaite second goal. What on earth were they playing at? We scored the goal completely legal. You watch back 1 or 2 replays of that goal, and of course, it's the VAR team. You want them to have a thorough look at it. So yeah, maybe sure, you look at it 3-4 times. We were literally at the centre circle for 4 minutes. That's a bit of an over-exaggeration. 3 minutes though, guys. And what we were looking at is a Messi header. It's so clear, it's absurd. I watch it back now in HD, in some other highlights on YouTube and stuff. It's so clear, it's absurd. I don't know what they're playing out, digging for things to rule out the goal, and that annoyed me. It really did. I just thought, completely legal goal, absolutely nothing wrong with it. And there they are in their little shed by the bottom of the lake, scratching for things to rule out the goal. For me, that was a bit out of order. Of course they gave the goal, so there's no point in me, rattling them with complaints, but I just didn't like the way they were hunting for things to rule out the goal with. It was completely legal. Everyone could see that from about the second replay. I didn't like the way it took 3 minutes for them to dig and try and find something to rule the goal out with. But like I said, guys, first half was over. Really good start from us. We got the goal, of course, from Arturo Vidal, the main man in midfield. I thought we slowed down, though, massively. That let Mallorca back in the game. Couple of good saves from De Stegen denied. Really, really impressive player for Mallorca, Kubo. He was, of course, formerly of La Masia. He's now at Real Madrid, which is a real shame, of course. But the first half ended. We were 2-0 up, guys. Braithwaite got the second goal. I mean, people were quite happy with it. I really wasn't that impressed. I don't like how lethargic we are under Setien, full stop. I don't see any clear style or intention with the ball, and I think it's worth for a few other people of the journalists to go and actually watch the game back and just watch how many minutes combined in that game that we were actually doing nothing, sitting off, no intention of getting the ball up to the attack, conceding chances and not making any ourselves. I'd say it was about a good 60 of the 90, so I think that's worth for everyone to watch that game back. And I think it still worries me, guys. It does worry me, the lack of intention on the ball, like I was mentioning, the style, just the whole rhythm of the game. I think that needs to be worked on. I think in training, Setien needs to speak with the players. He needs to put an arm around the shoulder of some of them who are struggling clearly, like Griezmann. Give him a role. Please give Griezmann a role, because it's no good just training and then putting in a lineup and saying, Griezmann, you're playing striker. He needs clear instructions there, guys. It's not a position he's that familiar in. He's way used to playing off of a big man up front, the likes of Torres, the likes of Diego Costa. Even a Morata would suit him quite well. But I think at Barcelona, he doesn't have that. He doesn't fit into a 4-3-3 particularly well. And unless he gets an arm around his shoulder, that's just not going to change full stop. And I think the same go for the rest of the team, guys. Let's talk in training. Let's plan the way we're going to be able to attack teams better. I worry when we play better and bigger teams that isn't going to go as well. And I think we'll get found out a little bit then if things aren't changed. But for the first game, it was a solid first half, 2-0 up. I couldn't ask much more on the scoreline, but I was a bit surprised with how many positive mentions the Barcelona team were getting after what I thought was quite a mediocre first half. The second half began, guys, with Rakitic entering for Vidal. Maybe that was because he was booked. We don't know. Either way, that was always going to take a bit out of our game. And the opening 15-20 minutes of that second half, all of that was just terrible for me. There was nothing going on. Was there even an attack? There wasn't, guys. I'll tell you that for free. There just wasn't an attack for Barcelona. Mallorca were coming close to our goal. Honestly, all that was missing from the opening 15 minutes for everyone to go, that was a horrible performance from Barcelona, was a Mallorca goal. That's what was missing, guys. And that's the way football works almost, Then you look back sometimes, and if that had gone in, that would have been a completely different game. The way everyone views the game would have been a little bit different. And for me, that was the case a little bit last night, guys, with Mallorca. Largely unlucky for me, a bit hard done by, especially 4-0 at full time was a bit absurd for me. But the changes did end up keep rolling. We didn't concede despite a few close calls, and then our play began to improve. I really do think it did, guys. I think Suarez was immense off the bench. You can never ever doubt the Pistolero coming back on here for Griezmann, and already in about 2 minutes he does more. He's moving the defence around, he's bullying defenders, and Messi gets a good ball through to Braithwaite. He so nearly could have had a brace. Then you also look at Suarez creating options in the middle. Messi drills the ball across goal. Araujo himself, actually the big man at the back, hit the post. Like I mentioned there, Suarez was getting heavily involved. Jordi Alba was really impressed with over the whole night, if I'm being honest, actually, guys. Lovely ball from Messi over the top, which made it 3-0 there. Alba cushioning it in the near post. That's a lovely finish, that one. And the play kept improving then from then onwards, guys, if I'm being honest. I think from really when Luis Suarez and maybe even Arthur came on, we began to control the game a lot more. I was really impressed with that. And I think the positive thing is that if we do get the lineup right, we are looking like a really ruthless and solid side in La Liga now, the sort of team that can go on to win the league, which is a positive sign. But, a few things I worried about. I think a lot of the first half was really poor. The opening 15-20 minutes in the second half, similarly, really poor. But it was actually Messi who got himself a fourth goal for Barcelona. Really great play from Suarez. The first touch is genius if you watch it back. He takes away from the defender after a lovely ball out the back from Araujo, slips it into Messi, brings it back onto his unfavoured right foot, shoots it in the corner, little bit of a deflection, ends it up in the net, and at the end of the day, guys, wraps up a really good evening for Barcelona. And like I say, guys, I don't want to come here after a 4-0 win, after so long out, guys, and just rip into the team. I really don't. I just feel as if that's harsh, and I do want to say, winning 4-0 away from home is really good. We couldn't really ask for much more there after 3 months without action, but I want to go over some talking points in general, and maybe not just from today's game, but for Barcelona in general that we need to think about. And there's some positives, some negatives. So let's start. One, it sounds a little bit odd, and you wouldn't really want to be hearing this in a Barca review, but the basics of football, guys. I think Barca would be so much better off defending if we just blocked crosses, just closed down our men, stop the ball coming in the box, and it sounds simple stuff that you learn when you're 7 years old. But Barca, I think we struggle so much when the ball gets whipped into that box, when the players begin attacking us there. We've got quick players on the wings who can stop the ball coming in, and also good ones in the middle. Barca need to be a lot more aggressive in stopping the ball coming into the box. That's when we're at our best, I feel. When we don't let the opponent near our box, then we can break the ball out, and then we're so much better in the attack. So that's just a short note from me, guys, but something I've been wanting to say for a while, really. Barca, block crosses, please. And a lot of teams in Europe as well. I don't know why it just isn't done. So naive and so lethargic when going out to press a man who has the ball on the wing. Never ever gets stopped from coming in the box. That annoys me. Point number two I want to talk about is the Setien style. Is there anything that's actually happening here? For me, we go asleep for so long in the games. Like I said, probably nearly about an hour or 50 minutes of football last night, guys, was actually just nothing happening. No chances for Barcelona, a couple of close calls for Mallorca, and absolutely nothing. For me, we generate less opportunities than our opposition and minimise our chances of success. That has to change. You look at the stats last night, Mallorca had more shots than us. They didn't have more on target for sure, but of course, that's because they have less quality players. We've got Messi, Suarez, Griezmann, Braithwaite, even Ansu Fati. We've got Arturo Vidal. You know, we're comparing that to Kubo, of course, a great player, but Cucho Hernandez, you know, Budimir, Baba, Salva Sevilla. It's not the same calibre of player. It's as simple as that. And against bigger opposition, some of those chances would have gone in, and then everyone would not be raving about what was apparently a really great performance from Barcelona. So I just don't really like the way we're playing right now. I feel as if we have a chance every 15 minutes. And I think if you watch some of the other great sides in Europe, Bayern Munich, they're constantly trying to get the ball up. They have pacey wingers. They're constantly driving at the defences, causing issues. And of course, you know, we can accept we're not going to be perfect every game. I know that, guys, honestly. I've been watching Barca for so long now, and especially in recent years. I'm one of the most tolerant people out there. I've seen it all, honestly. I've seen us I've seen us not really play well for so many games in a row now, but I think with Setien coming in, it's time to be brave. We can change that, honestly. We really can. So I want to see the style change. I want to see us go out there and, you know, produce better football. Number 3, Griezmann. I want to talk about his positioning and also general wingers. That needs coaching for me. I think I spoke about it a little bit more, but we actually need an arm around the shoulder of some of these players, guys, and just say, I want you to do that, I want you to do this. But for me, wingers. In that last game against Mallorca, the player who had so much success, and actually on both wings, was Sergi Roberto and Jordi Alba, because they were playing wide, they were driving, they were putting the ball back. That caused so many issues for Mallorca. If we had a Carlos Perez on right wing last night, my goodness me, this would have been a brilliant game and a brilliant watch for us Barcelona fans, honestly. And the same thing can happen with other players. I think Braithwaite stayed lovely wide on that left-hand side, caused so many issues. Messi, of course, you know, we still want him on the pitch. He's an absolute genius. I thought he was so good last night as well, honestly. But I just think in general, the wingers, we need to actually start paying more attention to that area and actually start playing wingers who can drive at defences and cause issues. That, for me, needs a lot of coaching. Number 4, VAR. What are you playing at? I think that's what I wanted to mention. I think I mentioned it earlier there with a Braithwaite goal. Wasn't happy about them at all, how long they took on that. Does worry me for the future. And then number 5 is actually going to be about some of the players that played well, and especially Martin Braithwaite. What a guy, honestly. He comes in for about 18 million. Everyone's mocking him, taking the mick out of him. You know, he's basically looked at a bit of a laughing stock when he comes into Barcelona, but he keeps his head down. He's got such a great mentality, and now look at him. Now look at Braithwaite. Honestly, Braithwaite probably right now gets into Barcelona's best starting front 3. How do you like them apples to everyone who was criticising him when he first came in, honestly? How do you like them apples? Because that's great mentality from Braithwaite. He said, I'm going to come here, I'm going to compete, and that's exactly what he's done. Brilliant from Braithwaite. A few other mentions I want to give to ter Stegen in goal. Super Spider-Man in goal again, you know, lovely controlled with the ball at his feet especially, guys. He actually made the most successful passes from a goalkeeper in a La Liga match since 2005. That helps us so much because we always have 11 men who can actually play with the ball, whereas the other team have about 10 or even 9 if one of the defenders isn't as well equipped. Also, Lionel Messi, I wanted to mention him. So good, looking so youthful. 2 assists, 1 goal. Brilliant from Messi. Honestly, a joy to watch out there again. And I'm super excited to see what he can do with a good amount of rest for the rest of the season. Jordi Alba I want to mention. I thought he was great there. And also, Araujo at centre-back. Great play from both of them in defence. In midfield, Arturo Vidal I thought put in a really good display, and also Suarez off the bench was obviously a great sight to see back on the field, and I'm really excited for what we can do with the likes of Suarez, Messi and Braithwaite all on the pitch at the same time in the future. But that's where this match review is going to come to an end. Quite a long one, quite a lot to talk about. I was excited to make this video because I have a lot to say about the game. And of course it was great to see Barca back in action. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below on everything I've said, on all the game's action. Keep on leaving your thoughts. I'll get back to all of you guys in the comment section. But until then, I'll see you all guys very, very later. And goodbye.